You want to make me co-host so I can let people in while you're doing what you're doing?
I did. I did.
Hi.
Okay,
Ah,
welcome, welcome, welcome. Menopause Mondays is back. We kind of went on a little vacay, which I
All
think
right.
Natalie and I, of course,
Hey,
needed. We needed a little vacay. So,
hi,
um,
ladies.
yes, good to have you. All right, so we're not going to do a whole bunch of introduction here, ladies, because I think everybody knows who Nadine is. As I said to her a while ago, she's an icon in the industry. We all know Nadine, and we love Nadine.
You flatter me.
So, of course, online health and fitness coach. I apologize for my voice. I have pharyngitis, but I will fudge through with my froggy voice. So you're an online health and fitness coach and a personal trainer. What I loved when you wrote your bio, you said you were a no BS menopause coach, and that was like boom, lights went out for me. That was amazing. So you help women 45 and over achieve sustainable weight management, of course, pain-free mobility and improved strength, especially now that we're on this lovely journey of menopause. So let's jump into the questions that Nats and I have for you. And of course, if anybody has any questions, pop them in the chat, please, so we can get those answered. So Nadine, we're going to start off with you, and I would
Sure.
love for you to share your personal story with your menopause.
Okay. So my story is, ladies, is a little different in that I am experiencing what is called late stage menopause. I'm 57 years old, and I still have my period. I still have my monthly cycle on a regular basis. So I do get the mood swings. I do get the hot flashes where I have to get up out of bed at night sometimes. It just doesn't happen every month, and change my clothes. And you know, I don't experience or haven't experienced the weight gain as much, not as yet. For me, it's just about mood swings and hot flashes, and they're not nice to deal with. So that much I can relate. Oh, and let's not forget insomnia as well. I do have trouble sleeping, and I find that my workout does help. And recently, what I changed in my own schedule is that I've now started working out at night in the evenings at about maybe 7. And so when I'm done with that, I somehow go to bed after that, and I'm fully rested the next day, and I will get a solid maybe 6 hours. Still less than what we should be aiming for, but I mean, I'm working with it right now. So
Hmm.
you could try, ladies, just changing your schedule around somewhat sometimes. And then always trying to get to bed at the same time as well too, every night, even if you don't fall asleep at the same time at when you hit the bed. Like myself, I might do an hour-long workout at 7 o'clock, and by 9 o'clock I'm in bed. And that way I pray that I would get 5 hours. I mean, I'm sorry, 8 hours, but it usually ends
Mhm.
up being more like 6. So, yeah, that's the stage that I'm at right now. And this cycle just has decided to stay with me. I don't know why, but in fact, my mom experienced the same late stage menopause as well. So it might be genetic, might be playing a big role in that too.
Mhm.
I don't think it
Mhm.
has anything to do with the fact that I've been exercising. A lot of people think that because I exercise and have been exercising for over half my life, that would be a reason, but no. And I do not have health issues that would contribute to that either. So yeah.
Hmm.
Thanks
Mhm.
for sharing that, Nadine. So we know based on all the experts that we've spoken to, right, that as estrogen starts to dip in perimenopause, which is the active stage that you're in right now, right? Perimenopause. As
Mhm.
your hormones start to dip, we start to lose muscle mass. Like that's one
Right,
of the things, right?
right.
But your body still looks as amazing as it has like the day I met you. Like what do you
Okay.
has
Um,
has
keep it
menopause impacted your lean muscle mass in any way?
Well, it will as you get older. We all experience, everybody, every human will experience age-related muscle loss.
Right.
Being sarcopenia is the name,
Sarcopenia, yeah.
right? I think it's 3 to 4% per year
Per year,
loss
yeah.
if you are inactive. Now we can do things to combat that. We like strength training, resistance training. Resistance training doesn't necessarily always mean you have to pick up a dumbbell. Can mean just using your body weight as well. Unfortunately, a lot of us like to run, you like to ride and what have you and so forth. Not saying that that's not important. Cardio health is not important as well. But my preferred modem has always been weight training. That's what I started with. It's what has worked for me.
I'm gonna want to ask another question.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
wait,
Go
no,
ahead,
sorry.
sorry. Go ahead.
We just need to mute someone
Yeah,
here.
go ahead,
Yeah.
Nadine.
So, and at this point in our lives now, ladies, as we are getting older and we know that we are losing muscle mass, it is more important now, even if you haven't been, it is more now, it's more important now for you to start lifting weights, start some kind of resistance training. And I think so right now I'm pretty much maintaining my physique. I'm in maintenance mode. Have I lost muscle mass? Yeah, I can see where some have, but I'm working hard. I'm fighting it hard as, doing what I love, because this has always been my life. I see Rachel smiling.
Fit women, that's right, that's right, that's right.
So definitely, ladies, add weight training, resistance training to a part of your routine. You cannot go through life being inactive, ladies.
Mhm.
What we were able to get away with in when we were young, when you
Mhm.
were able maybe to drop a few pounds in a few days, not going to happen, not at this stage of the game. You got to start taking care of yourself, eating properly, eating well.
Absolutely. So before everyone jumped on, Nikki and I were talking, and I was saying that I'm also someone who loves to exercise, right? But my perimenopausal symptoms include things like, aside from the anxiety and the irritability and all that stuff, I get heart palpitations, wicked heart palpitations that feel like my chest is going to explode, right? So I'll start to exercise, and it's not exercise related, right? But I'll start to exercise and I'll feel the palpitations, and I wonder, should I work through this? Should I push through this? Or is my heart really saying, back it down, don't do this right now? So when we're going through these things and we're not feeling good, now I know why my heart palpitations are there. I came off my hormones stupidly. So I restarted them this weekend. So they will kick in and my heart palpitations will go away. But for someone who is in the throes of symptoms, how do you respect the symptoms that you're feeling, yet still begin this active lifestyle if we have not already always been there?
All right. So first of all, you can't just jump into a program just like that, right? You need to first, my recommendation is that you first go to visit your GP, your doctor. You get a clean bill of health to say, all right, fine. Let them know what you intend to do as far as training is concerned, and have them, because only until you know everything that you are, only until you have that good physician's report will you know what you're capable of. Do you understand what I'm saying? It just makes
Yeah.
sense to have a medical report so you work in accordance with that. You get me? With that being said as well, too, guys, you got to know your body. You must know your body by this time, this late stage of the game, right? So you know what you're capable of, and now is not the time to be pretending to be Superman or Superwoman kind of thing. No, you got to take things in stages, right? It is not too late to start weight training. And it is, of course, you know, while you're weight training, weight training is always about a challenge, picking up, making yourself better at or stronger, you know what I mean, each time, each week, right? And that is how you're going to build muscle. That is how you're going to get results, see the results that you want, you know? So you have to know your body, ladies. You're talking about that heart palpitation thing. You just said you knew why you were getting them. You went back on the hormones. So ladies, if you're experiencing something like that when you're working out or after a workout session kind of thing, and it doesn't feel normal, if you think that it doesn't feel normal, it isn't. Get it checked. So it's a lot of it is about common sense as well. All right. And only you and your doctor will know, because remember, you know, also is that not everyone can get the same results from the same thing all the time. Just because Natalie does spinning and weight training, or she does HIIT, doesn't mean that a HIIT class is going to work for everyone else either. You can't train at the same intensity as Natalie. You have to know what your body is capable of, and you have to be willing to push your body to that level, if depending on your goals.
Mhm.
You understand?
Yeah. So
definitely.
you basically get a medical clearance, like you're okay. There's nothing wrong with
Absolutely,
you, right?
absolutely. It's not something
But
that you jump into at this late stage of the game and take it lightly. No, we're not young. We're not at that stage of the game anymore.
we shouldn't be afraid of doing something like going for a swim or going walking or like,
Absolutely not. Absolutely
but
not.
but if we
No.
want to get into the real hardcore stuff, we
If you
should
want to get into, let's not say hardcore, but if you want to get into resistance training, yes, it is.
Okay.
My recommendation is that you first get a physician's report,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
take it from
Make
the.
sure the ticker can stand up.
You got it.
Without a doubt. Definitely.
Make sure your joints are, you know, okay. And by the way, at this stage of the game too, I asked Nick, I think it was a couple of days ago, whether or not she had a bone density check or test. And I think, guys, that it's a good idea, especially if you haven't been exercising. It's a good idea to include that in your physical, your also, you know, if you
Yeah.
haven't had one done yet. So
Actually,
yeah.
can we just get a like, let's see who we're talking to here. Can we get a thumbs up in the chat if you have been participating in a strength training program regularly? So if you consider yourself an exerciser, can we get a thumbs up? I just want to see if we're talking to people that are in the gym working out, or if we're talking to people that are not.
Rachel, definitely. Her thumb went up.
Yes.
Really, Rachel?
So Nadine, question for you is, for women who doesn't know about resistance training, doesn't know where to start. I mean, that's a good question Natalie asked, because it'd be good for us to know, to find that balance. So like, personally speaking, I walk and exercise, as you know, 40 minutes,
Right.
3-4 times a week. And I'm thinking, this is good, I'm doing great, but the body is not, the clothes are not corresponding to that. So how do you find that balance of how much resistance training you should do? How often should you do it? Should you be doing it on your own? I mean, I could go in my home gym and lift my 2-pound weights and think, yay, I'm doing a great job here.
Lift what kind of weights? 2 pounds weights? Sorry.
That's like taboo for you. That's like a
So,
no.
so first of all, let's talk about how often or what your schedule should look like for exercise in general. Now, what I recommend, right? And it depends, ladies, on your goals, right? Now, if you're just interested in, if you're already in shape, you're trying to maintain, or you're happy with your weight and your, physique, I would say you want to still maintain a schedule of 5 days weekly, 4 to 5 days weekly, right, of exercise. And the way you break that down is at least 2 days of resistance training And then you can do your other 3 days of your walking, cardiovascular training, being, your swimming, if you so choose. For me, as I said, I've always loved strength training because I've seen what it has done and can do for me as well as for others that I have trained as well. So I recommend for a person like me, I do 5 days of weight training. So I'll take weekends off. All right.
Okay.
And I do 5 days. And then ladies, it's not just about if you are going to embark on a strength training or any kind of session kind of thing. It's not just about going outside and taking a leisurely walk and going, oh, done. No. Requires effort, ladies, right? So that means that by the time, if you are walking, let's say, we use in personal training what we call a rate of perceived exertion, RPE. And on a scale of 1 to 10, when you're doing any kind of cardio, being spinning, walking, whatever you choose, jogging, you should be working. You want to first use the first maybe 5 to 10 minutes to warm up. So that's where if you're walking with your friend, you can probably have a conversation. You're just warming up. You know what I mean? And after that first 10 minutes, you want to spend at least, in my book, another 30 minutes of real work. Okay. That would be at a rate of perceived exertion at about 7. All right. So you won't be able to carry on a conversation like we are talking now. You won't be able to carry on any kind of conversation with your partner kind of thing. So you use that to judge. Failing that, you could use a heart rate monitor as well. I don't like to depend on those things too much either, because I mean, you have to be responsible at some point for what you're doing, right? You got to be true to yourselves and not depend on a gadget or you get me? Kind of thing. And then when you're weight training as well, I recommend at least 40 minutes at the very least per day. So you want to, they say you need 150 hours per week. Sounds like a lot, but when you break it down, that's 30 minutes a day if you're going to be working out 5 days. All right. 30 minutes a day, ladies. That's all you need. Right. And again, it cannot be that you're going to just go into the gym and fling yourself about and go through the motions. You're not going to get anything out of that. You got to put in the effort.
Exercise in your mouth more than anything else.
So when you see those females used to annoy me at the gym on a treadmill, and they're watching TV and holding on to the side and of the treadmill and just walking haphazardly. Don't work. Guys, if
Or
you want
leaning on the
something,
railing of
exactly.
the stair
If
climber,
you-
leaning on it and moving your legs.
Exactly. And just say, that's not going to work. You got to put in the effort, guys. So you want to make sure that that time that you're spending inside the gym or doing your workout, make it count. Make it count. You know what
So
I mean?
Nadine, I go through, and again, I underscore everything with, I'm one of those anomalous type people. I love to exercise. I love how it makes me feel. I just love it. But I go into sort of like a decision paralysis. I only have an hour. I must warm up my joints. I must do a little cardio. I must do my weight training. And then by the time I'm trying to figure out what to do,
Time done.
time done.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing, guys. It makes sense to plan. Plan your workout. Now, you have an hour. If this is a time that you're going to dedicate to your exercise, excellent, right? So you get in 10 minutes, warm up. You spend another 40 to 50 minutes, a good hour, 1 hour is good time. You spend another 40 or 50 minutes on your workout session, and then another 10 minutes to cool down. That's it, simple. How do you break that down? Or you want to know of a workout split for the week? Is that okay?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna use again myself as an example, right? So as I said, I do resistance training 5 days a week. because I don't do much cardio, which is not necessarily good, ladies, because you do need to do some kind of cardiovascular training. I incorporate HIIT. The HIIT is high intensity interval training, right? So, and that's where I get my cardio, how I get my cardio in. Okay. So, and it doesn't necessarily always involve picking up a weight. It may mean doing core exercises, doing working with the kettlebell or not, doing jumps, plyometrics, right? And there are jumping rope. You'd be amazed at how quickly that takes up the heart rate. Okay. And then so you would probably do, I know you used to do Tabata, Natalie. So Tabata, I like to do what I call super Tabatas, which is another form of HIIT. So I will do 40 seconds on, 20 seconds of rest. And I keep repeating, like I'll choose 6 exercises or so, and I go through those 6 exercises for about 4 to 6 sets, depending on how strong I feel that day or how with it I feel that day.
You will use that rhythm of Tabata. Tabata just means alternating work and rest.
Exactly,
And,
same thing.
and it's maximum effort. So it's like you feel like you're going bust
Yeah,
when you do it.
it busts when you're doing it. Heart
But
going
you
through the
you do
bone.
that you use that rhythm of timing to do weight training.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's interesting. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Well,
So you choose your exercises. Always good to go in with a plan. Don't just go in and figure out, always go in with a plan. You're gonna work legs today, you're gonna work chest tomorrow. You know what I mean? You can combine the different body parts or muscle groups as well and work it out like that. Right. And if you need if you're going to a gym, they have personal trainers there that you could probably consult with, who could write you a program that you could go through. But ladies, again, it is not just about having a program and then doing what is on it. What is it? It's not a one size fits all approach. You know what I mean? You want to do exercises that are the best exercises for you. You understand?
Right. And that's my concern with just dealing. I mean, all due respect given to the trainers in gyms, but I have been in gyms since I was 16. I see who trainers are. I know their level of experience and training and whatnot. And I do not know that they are studying the older woman physique. I hate to say things like that because I don't think any of us here are older women. Right? But I don't know that they're considering how to get the best out of us, given our hormones, given our joints, given our, so this is something you specialize in, right? Can you tell us a little bit about your approach with your clients and how people on this call can
Sure.
maybe
So
that?
okay, I'm gonna give you a couple of examples here. So I have a client, my oldest client is 70, closer to 80, about 70, yeah.
Wow.
Now this lady, I've often told her, I want to be like her when I grow up. Right? She just started weight training. Maybe she had been exercising, but she only just started her weight training journey 10 years ago. That's when I started working with her. This is just from seeing me in the gym. I was working out with a couple other people. She decided, I want in. And since then, she's been hooked, right? Now, how do you have to take the time to get to learn about your client. You have to take the time to get to learn about yourself, what exercises you react better to, what exercises will give you the best results. You have to also, guys, if you go to the gym and something is screaming out, it's not right. No. Okay. You must be able to, when you go into the gym or when you're working out, be able to tell the difference between muscle pain and muscle soreness. Okay. Pain is when you are like something, you feel like a shooting pain kind of thing, then That's a no-no. You stop whatever you're doing immediately. There are no ifs, ands, or buts. The soreness that you get after, some people will experience it later on within a couple hours after working out. The muscle soreness and thing and the stiffness, that's natural. Okay. Don't take no aspirin for that either. So just deal with it. Stretch.
What if you can't sit on the toilet or get
Well,
off the toilet?
That's a good thing.
just
That's a good thing, Natalie. It's a good thing when you can't sit down on the toilet.
please and thank you. All right, and with your joints as well too, ladies, you have to know what your, you know, if you feel a pain somewhere that is unusual, it feels unusual to you, it's not right, it's not safe, so stop. Don't push it, right? Don't want to be like a dog chasing its tail either. You know what I mean?
No.
So you got to take
Well,
care
how do
of.
you respect those? How do you respect those pains without wimping out? Because sometimes
I'm
you
sorry.
have to. So, well, you know, what if the pain is as a result of a weak muscle, and like, how do you know what to work through versus what to just?
Right. So how you know what to work through is, again, I'm going to tell you again. The usually it's a shooting, very sudden pain. You know, that is real pain. That you do not work through. That you put down the weights and you're working and as you're lifting, you're feeling that burning sensation in the muscle. That's your lactic acid buildup as you're exercising. That you work through. Okay. When you are sore the following day, usually they say that's when you do your cardio. So you work out that soreness. We spoke about that briefly this morning, kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So those are the things that you ladies, if you feel something that doesn't feel right, it usually isn't. So don't push through it.
Gotcha.
Right? It's not a matter of wimping out.
Let's
No.
talk to
Mm-mm.
a therapist or something to see why the pain and what's
Exactly.
it.
Can I give you another example? It's
yeah.
again using myself as an example. Because I had been about 5 years ago, 7 years ago or so, I was working out and I'm very big on form, ladies, very big, because that's when you're gonna get results, right? So anyway, I was doing a bicep curl, and then I had this niggling pain in my elbow, and I ignored it, and it gradually got worse over a few months, 3 months to be exact. And when I couldn't lift up a 5-pound weight, I was like, no, not used to that kind of thing.
Something wrong.
So then I knew something was definitely wrong. It took that long because then, Natalie, I was doing the same thing about wimping out. I didn't want to wimp out. I wanted to just push through because I'm me, I can do this. Well, no, that's not no. So anyway, I ended up at the physiotherapist, and it took all 2 treatments to sort the issue. I haven't had it since. So when your body is trying to tell you something, ladies, don't push it. Don't let it get too bad to the point where it's going to hinder you from doing other things, or you know, kind of thing.
Does these joints of ours that are, you know, participating in this aging process, there's a lot that I see on social media, and you know, social media gives you back what you watch, so I don't know if it's out there more or if I'm just seeing more of it, but I'm seeing a lot more mobility work. I'm seeing exercises that focus on like 1990s and hip openers, and you know, so it's not yoga, and it's not warming up like going on a treadmill for 10 minutes warming up. It's rotating the joints and you know, using the joints and strengthening the joints, stuff like that. What do you think about those types of exercises and incorporating them into your routine at this stage of life?
You spoke about the hip openers, the rotations and all of that. Definitely do those to help you to warm up. I use those at the beginning, or I recommend using those at the beginning of your program. Every time. Spend like maybe 5-10 minutes, 6-10 minutes doing those hip openers, those shoulder shrugs, you know, using the foam roller even. You said something about 1990. A lot of these things I don't pay attention to. I know nothing about them. I'm not sure what the to 90. So I don't pay attention to a lot of the fads and gimmicks that are online, simply because I don't believe, simply because I shouldn't say I don't believe in them, but I don't, I mean, I believe in what I'm doing, which is the weight training. And it's not just about walking into the gym and jumping into a program, or jumping into your routine. You want to warm up your joints and your muscles first. And as usual, you know, so you do the rotations and other exercises like that, but you also jump on the treadmill for a couple minutes, or stair climber, to get the heart rate up, and to maybe break even a light sweat before you start.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. I think that the joining of the gym part is, as you talked about, getting that knowledge and that expertise, rather than somebody who isn't knowledgeable on weights, just going in there, as you said, jumping into things, because as you said, it can really cause a lot of damage. So I think that is an awesome advice, to go in there, get, speak to a personal trainer, get a list of what you should and shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
But let's switch gears a little bit now, because I think that there has to be a balance. So let's talk a little bit about how we balance with the resistance training, through diet, nutrition, to complement that. So let's talk a little bit about how we can be complementing our resistance training through diet.
All right. So guys, you want to make sure that you are eating good, wholesome, natural foods, right? Now is not the time to be experimenting with this restrictive diets or low fat, no carb. No. Your body, remember that we are losing a certain amount of muscle mass per year at this late stage, at our stage of life right now. You want to work to maintain at least that muscle mass, right? So to do, you're going to, balanced meals, meaning you want to include all the macronutrients, protein, healthy fats, carbs. And a lot of people discount water, right? Or drinking. No, I shouldn't say drinking, but hydration, yeah, right? Plays a big part in lubricating your joints and keeping your muscles supple as well. Cut the junk, ladies. I'm not saying you can't have an occasional patty if you crave it, but not every day. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you can't have the oxtail and thing if it's what you do on a Sunday at family dinner. Have it, right? But you do not deprive yourself of the necessary nutrients just for the sake of wanting to lose a few pounds so you can fit into a black dress, or you know what I mean? That's not the way you do it, ladies. If you want to maintain your weight, you must eat properly. Eating properly means incorporating all of the macronutrients.
Okay.
And you want to cut out the processed foods as well. And also you want to watch your portion, your sizes. Sometimes, ladies, I find a lot of us overthink the way to eat. They don't know how to portion, that kind of thing. Let me give you another example here of like everybody was into and probably still are, the juicing binge or the smoothie binge, and they put every Jesus Christ thing in the one smoothie. Ain't gonna work.
I
No.
tell people all the time, just because it went in a blender and you call it a smoothie doesn't mean it's healthy.
No. So basically, like, in my instance, kind of thing, a smoothie is made with whatever is in my fridge. So if I have banana, and if it depends on the size of the banana, I'm going to use that. A basic smoothie, which I used to have every morning. Now, since I'm able to not depend on just a smoothie anymore. I can have other things because I have a little bit more time now. But the smoothie, a basic smoothie would be like a third cup of oats, the banana, the liquid that you want to use, not juice, yeah, meaning coconut water or regular water or milk. My preferred liquid is milk, soy milk. You don't have to use that. You can use rice milk, almond milk, whichever you prefer. Dairy milk is always good as well. That's a basic smoothie. Very nutritious, 350 calories, set for the morning, good to go. If you want to
Okay.
add your collagen protein powder,
Pop it
kudos,
in
it's also
there.
good.
Let's talk a little bit about protein.
Mhm.
Let's concentrate on that because I think we've always known that. How much
Mhm.
protein at this stage of our lives should we be consuming at every meal?
You
Because
at
you
every
see so much online. You see so much of that online.
basic the basic rule of thumb, ladies, is 100 grams of protein per day. If you want to break that down as 30, 30, 30, 30 in the morning, 30 in the afternoon, 30 or 40 at night, just get that 100 grams per day. Does it mean investing in a kitchen scale? Maybe. So get it.
Not a
Measure it
big
after you do
investment.
it the
They have
first
them at
couple of
home.
times. It comes as second nature after a while. You know what I mean? So where do you get your protein? We're talking about lean protein now. We're talking about red meat. A lot of people cut out red meat for what? What's the reason? Because somebody said it wasn't good for you? Where's the proof? You know what I mean?
Where
Because
indeed.
everybody is talking about going green. Let me give you a little story here, guys. You see those green, look, I have nothing against plant-based foods, right? But also keep in mind that those plant-based burgers or plant-based meat to taste like chicken foolishness, they are putting, ask them what they're putting inside of those plant-based products to add the taste. You get me? There was one called I don't remember, it was on the Sovereign used to carry it and was sold in the freezer section. Tastes good, you know. Loaded with sodium. Loaded with sodium. More than the recommended daily intake, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when you're talking, I'm sorry, when you're talking about plant-based and we're going back to protein, think beans. Think of beans meaning your chickpeas, kidney beans, any black beans, you know. But also keep in mind that these are carbohydrate foods as well.
Absolutely.
Doesn't mean you're
Absolutely.
going to leave it out. No, it means you are going to be very mindful of the way that you prepare your foods.
Your
Right?
beans, yeah.
And as I said, not every if you like chickpeas and you are using like usually maybe a third of a cup, might be a serving, and you're
Mhm.
gonna make a chickpea salad. And you make that with your cucumbers, your tomatoes, whatever, your favorite vegetables, right? That's a
Mhm.
meal right there. You add a little bit of olive oil and some balsamic vinegar, maybe add a little salt, you're good to go.
Yep.
It's a
Good
meal
to
right
go.
there, and you're getting the recommended amount of protein. That's one serving for the day,
Yeah.
right?
And fiber, which is
And
really
fiber,
important.
lots of fiber as well. And then where else would you get your protein? As I said, you know, not just red meat, but chicken,
Eggs. Yeah.
eggs,
Eggs, fish, shrimp.
fish, exactly. Fish
Yeah.
gets a bad, not fish, eggs get a bad rap as well because of the
It's I tell people all the time that your high cholesterol is not, the
has
studies
nothing to
show
do with the
that
amount of eggs you eat. I
dietary
eat
cholesterol does
sometimes
not
three
impact
eggs a day,
Exactly, same.
right? Because
same.
one egg can't
Keeps
do.
away the dementia and the Alzheimer's.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Keeps away the dementia and the Alzheimer's. That's where the brain healthy stuff
Exactly.
is.
The
Yeah.
thing is too that with
That's where the brain
the egg, it gets a bad rap because of the back in the 70s or the Jane Fonda days kind of thing of leotards and what have you. There were, you know, no disrespect still. It was thought back then that because the cholesterol levels in the egg yolk contributed to high cholesterol. No, it doesn't. You're not putting away that, you're not consuming that amount of eggs per day, number one. And secondly, unless if if you have high cholesterol, check everything else that you're eating, ladies. You know, and also a good indicator as well too is if your parents or you have a history of high cholesterol in your family, likely you're going to have it also. Have nothing to do with eggs. All right.
No, that's very true.
Continue to eat
The declining estrogen will also allow for your cholesterol to go up. But sugar is a better thing for you to watch than eggs. Cut the sugars.
Cut the
and
sugar.
It helps.
I do agree. You don't need
Yeah,
it.
especially high fructose corn syrup.
I'm sorry.
Especially high fructose corn syrup.
Yes.
That's a cholesterol driver right there.
Yeah.
I love that you were talking about the 100 grams of protein and splitting it up across your meals. One of the studies that I've read recently indicates that as we get older, our ability to synthesize proteins is a little diminished, and we have to cross over a protein threshold in order for our muscles to get what we need. And therefore, getting that 30 grams per meal is really important, because if we don't get the 30 grams, we're not crossing that threshold, and it's not impacting our muscle health as significantly as if we didn't. So
Also keep in mind, ladies, as you bring up that the protein and muscle relation, is that you know, to get rid of that belly fat that everyone is concerned about, right? Again, I'm gonna preach resistance training. You cannot leave it out. At least 2 days a week, ladies, right? Is what you need. Okay, and 2 days of good effort and at least 30 minutes per day, right? Remember that lean muscle mass is what's going to help you to burn that excess fat, especially around the midsection as well, kind of thing, right? But how are you going to, you have to feed your muscles. With all of that said, you have to feed your muscles, you know? And how are you going to do that? With protein. Protein is the building block for your muscles. Get me?
Yep.
You spoke about the amount that you need per meal. This is exactly how you're gonna do it, guys. You know, there are no shortcuts. Forget that. No shortcuts. Okay.
no shortcuts. A lady asked me today if she added something to her coffee, if it would make her lose weight. And I was like, there's no magic bullet. You can't add something to your coffee and make you lose weight. I said, if that was the case, I'd be a millionaire. I'd just buy that and sell it.
I don't know what people have, why people just, I cannot understand why people so hate exercise. I don't get it. You know, it's just a little bit of effort. It's less than 1% of your day. You know what I mean? I don't get why you would just want to.
I think for some, Nadine, they love how they feel after, but to get into it, it's that block to get the motivation to get started. Once they get started, it's like, yeah, I can do this, you know, and they love how they feel.
Right.
But
So
it's to get that motivation to get started.
How do they get that? First of all, they have to. How do they get the motivation to get started? That's a good question, because everyone's motivation is going to be different. You know what I mean? So here's the thing. Here's a good indicator. You got to do what you like doing. You got to do what you love to do most. If you love walking, walk, jog, walk around, but you can't walk every day. You still have to do the resistance training. And that is why I'm saying, let's just say that resistance training is not your first love, but you have to get it in there at least twice a week.
Yeah.
No,
and that's doable. Twice a week is so doable.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's
Remember,
so doable.
All we're asking for is 30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
If you so dislike it, 30 minutes, that's all you need per day.
Yeah.
But again, it has to be with effort,
Yeah.
you know. It's not
Nadine,
just
what
about
do you
going
think
there.
about these?
Hmm?
What do you think about these weighted vests? More and more, I know you're not a social media like fad follower,
It's another
but
gimmick.
some of the menopause doctors,
It's another
it's a
gimmick.
gimmick. Okay. What about the ladies that you see walking on the golf course with the 2 pound weights in their hand? Is that resistance training?
No, that's
Okay.
cardio.
Okay.
Sorry. No, it adds a little bit more effort to their walk. Absolutely. So go ahead, do that. If they want to walk with ankle weights, great. But no, that's not resistance training. Right?
Okay.
It's cardio.
No. It's almost
What's
like we have
Pilates?
to go back to old school when you talk about, talking with you, Nadine. It's like you see on the internet all these fads and all these things and buy this, try that. But when talking with you, it's like going back to the basics, going back to
Basics.
old school. It's going back to the basics. And it's not rocket science for us to lose this weight and gain this muscle during menopause. Just go back to the
Exactly.
basic, the portion size, resistance training, being more in tune with our bodies and not and having an expectation of we're not going to have the bodies we had when we were in our
No,
20s, 30s, and
exactly.
40s.
Yeah.
It's creating the body that we have now
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
our 50s and learning to fine tune how
Mhm.
we want to feel. So I think that's what it is for me, is going back to basics.
Absolutely.
Portion control, all of these things we spoke about. Let's touch a little bit because we only have about 10 minutes left. Let's talk a little bit about, you talked earlier about sleep, stress, exercise, all of these things help us in, on our menopause journey. So are there, I mean, you talked a little bit about, different things. Well, are now the tools or strategies that we can implement to help with our stress, improve our sleep, all of that, other than diet and exercise?
I find that again with extra other than diet and exercise.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. No, that's good. But no, this is what we want to hear because these ads that you see online, buy this, try that. Oh, that's going to solve all your stress problems.
Ladies, now is not the time to be experimenting with fads and gimmicks. You just said it. You go back to basics. For to help you with sleep, you might want to consider some mindfulness exercises like yoga. You might want to start meditating for a couple minutes before bedtime. That works. You know what I mean? As well to just relax the mind and but you can't meditate in front of the TV. You know what I mean? If you're really serious about it, you have to make it you have to get serious about it, guys. Now, if you want to see results, you're going to have to put in the effort. That is just the long and short of it, The other thing, as you spoke about sleep and stress kind of thing. Keep in mind, ladies, that lack of sleep brings on stress, right? And the more your body is stressed, that's where you induce the production of cortisol. That's the stress hormone. That is where and that is the spare tile around the waist kind of thing. How do you combat stress? As we said, exercise is one. You can do mindfulness exercises as well, the meditation, the yoga, go for a walk, that kind of thing. I mean, outside this time, not an exercise walk, just to relax the mind,
Yeah, nature. Yeah,
And
with
you also,
nature.
again, what you eat, how you eat, when you eat plays a big part as well. You can't be starving yourself at this late stage of the game. No, you're doing yourself more harm than good. You're doing yourself all harm, no good.
Yeah.
You're going to be starving yourself to lose a couple of pounds. Not going to work.
Yeah. No, I think it has to be that balance of, as you said, the hard work, putting it out there, doing all of that. But the mindfulness part is also really very, very important. The meditation, whatever, because there is that mind-body connection. We know this, you
Mhm.
know. So Rachel has popped in the chat here. Wow, this is great. I recommend you ladies read the book Next Level by Stacey T. Sims. She is the first scientist I found who has studied women through all phases of their life, their changing hormones, etc. This book is primarily for active women who have gone through menopause. She explains in great detail how the changes in hormones physically and mentally affect women and what can be done to combat it. That's amazing, Rachel. Thank you so much. I'm going
Thank
to
you
pop
for
that.
that, Rach. Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. I'm gonna write that down right now. Next Level by Stacey Sims. Okay, great. Yeah, because these bodies, this change in our bodies and our minds as well. We cannot ignore the fact that our minds are changing. I mean, we're going through a whole evolution. So our minds in our 20s and 30s are not the same that we are in our 50s.
No, you have different goals, you have different different concerns at this time.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So as you get older, kind of thing. Now is the time to start taking better care of yourselves, guys.
Yeah, so we can be like your client that's almost 80.
Yeah,
Right?
this woman is amazing, gotta tell you. So I got off on a tangent, but she started working 10 years ago, and she does 3 days, never misses a class. Sometimes it
Oh.
annoys me sometimes, but hey, she is, I look up that she is my role model, she's done really well. And you can see, even at that late stage of the game when she started, she was 65, you can see the changes in her musculature. You can see just the definite physical changes of her in her body as well. So guys, it works for everyone.
You just have to want
There
it.
are
You
no
have to
excuses.
But this is it, the quick fixes is just as you said, go back to basics and start
There
over.
are no quick fixes,
There are
guys.
no quick
The
fixes.
quick
And
the quick fix is the 30 minutes that you're going to spend doing it per day. That's a quick fix.
exactly. But the thing is that, and also we have to remember that in our bodies are not as responsive now as they were in the 20s and 30s. So
Exactly.
you could pop to the gym, sweat like a dog, and then wraps 5 pounds gone. Boom.
Yeah.
You do that now, you're lucky if you get a pound or two off, because it's just we're just dealing with a different body. So you have to
Yes.
adjust your mindset going into
Yes.
this.
Yes.
It's going to take a little bit more perseverance, a little bit more grit, a little more determination.
Exactly, because this is not something that you have been doing on a regular basis for a long time. You know what I mean? So now, especially now, if you're just starting, the change will happen, but you have to be patient. It's not going to happen. Look, another thing I like to tell people is that it didn't take overnight for you to get where you are. So if you're talking about losing a couple pounds, you saw it coming on. You have a mirror, you look in the mirror, you see it every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you've been watching it for the last year or however long, and then finally you've decided that you're going to do something about it, hey, kudos. But you need to give it time.
Yeah.
And
And consistency.
be consistent. Oh, thanks for saying that.
Yeah, as a coach, I always say to my clients, consistency creates change. Without a doubt. If you're not consistent, you're not going to see the change. Being
So
committed
it's about you, ladies. It's not about your friend. It's not about the person next to you, kind of thing. It's about each individual, and everyone reacts to exercise and food differently. You have to find the formula that's going to work best for you, whether that means sitting down with a trainer or sitting down, going through it with your GP. Just do it. Do what it takes and get started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And talk about it.
The longer you wait is the longer you wait.
Yeah. If you don't do anything, nothing, as the expression says,
nothing changes unless
when
something changes.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing changes when nothing changes. But it's also to talk about it, because I love the fact that you said that, we may there's a lot of comparison at this stage of our life. I mean, it's always been at our stage of our lives, but
Mhm.
even more so now. So you may see a menopausal woman who's the exact same age as you and has the most fantastic body according to your eyes, but your body is not doing the same. So I think that getting into that arena of this is my body, this is what she's going to do, and this is what I'm going to do for her, rather than saying,
Exactly.
why don't I look like her? Because she's a completely different being.
Yeah.
Oh,
It depends
consider
on,
that.
again, it depends on your goal, and it depends on how much effort you're going to put into what you're
Yeah.
doing. You just you know, you can't compare yourself to the next person. You just can't.
No,
You know, what works for Tom is not going to, or what works for Mary is not going to work for Sue.
no.
It's just how it is. Not only that, they may have different food uh preferences
Restrictions.
as
Yeah,
well, you know.
yeah.
So it's about you, ladies.
Yep.
It really is, you know. Some of us might require supplements and so forth, for, you know, to help us through this stage. But it's not something that you necessarily want to depend on,
Exactly.
I don't think. You know what I mean? If you can get through this stage, just trying to monitor what you eat, do your exercise, start maybe, you know, when I say monitor what you eat, you start maybe eliminating or and adding other foods, that kind of thing, you know, but it's up to you to make the change, guys. No one else can make it for you.
No, absolutely not. We can't eat the way we did when we were in
No.
our 20s and 30s. We can't. So, I mean, all the different, but talking about it and getting support, I think, is vital. A lot of women don't want to talk about it. They are ashamed of their, their weight gain. Why is this happening? And, they go through that whole mental aspect of it. But to know that every woman in one sort way or another is going through this menopausal change. Now, some may not larger, smaller than others, but everybody's body is going to change during menopause.
Absolutely.
You're not escaping it. You're not escaping it. So why not embrace it and thrive in it and make it be the best
Exactly.
chapter of your life? Absolutely.
And don't worry that you're just starting if you haven't been doing anything. Start.
Just
That's the only
start.
way you're gonna see results. Start. Get it
Just
done.
start.
You
Yeah.
know, just start and be consistent.
Consistency creates change. So we have 2 minutes left. So if anybody has any questions, pop them in the chat. And Nadine, do you have any other little nuggets you want to share with us before we close off? Well, first of all, in our email that I send out, I will be sending your contact information, your website, all of that. So if anybody wants to consult with you, I will pop that into the email that everybody's going to get with this recording. So
Sure.
if anybody wants just a consultation, you do offer that, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, great.
You can either give, if you can either call me, WhatsApp. I
Okay.
would prefer a WhatsApp.
WhatsApp call.
Yeah. Or on the website there is the consultation form as well, so you could fill that out too, and
Okay.
would see it. But I get to the WhatsApp more quickly than I would the other modes.
And
Yeah.
you are, I did say at the beginning that you're an online coach. Talk a little bit about that. You do online training. I mean, I just did one with you
Yes.
this morning.
So
Was
I do
you kick my
virtual.
butt, but talk a little bit, kick my butt, but talk a little bit about that.
So some people might choose to do the virtual classes, which I do offer very early in the morning. And I do offer private virtual classes as well. The the early morning virtual sessions are all group sessions from 6 to 7 or 6:15 to 7:15 on some days. And then the privates are booked according to the times that I'm available and the client is available as well. Those are the virtual sessions. Then I have online programs where I will, you'd be required to check in with me maybe once a week where we meet virtually. I would send you your program. I am able to see what you're doing. We communicate through that app. And I give advice for food in menus, that kind of thing as well. So, most people so far do the virtual training sessions, and there are others who will also opt for the online training sessions as well.
Okay. If you're doing the online session in that group setting, what do we need at home to be prepared?
No, the online program, meaning where, I would send you your weekly program and your weekly menu, that kind of thing. You are on your own. But
Okay.
but there are videos for each workout. When I say
Gotcha.
video, demonstrating videos for each workout.
Okay.
So meaning that for each exercise, you will have a reminder of what I might be looking for, whether it be me or so it's like there are like 10-second snippets of an
Yeah.
exercise. You get
And
me?
then you just do that on your own. So they
Yeah,
can do
and then
that
you
whenever it's convenient for them. Okay, so
Yeah.
that will work for people who are all over the world can do
Yeah.
that, can do it at their own time. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
and
great.
then two,
That is great.
with that, what that also works as well, because maybe I might send you something that you're not used to doing, kind of thing. An exercise that doesn't work for you, that kind of thing, and that might be too difficult for you, or you know what I mean? So I'm able to change it up like we would virtually as well.
Okay.
It's modified for the individual.
Okay. Well, I think that's great for people who are not accessible to a gym, that they have that as an option to do virtual with you or do book the online classes. I think
Or do both, or do online.
or do both. Exactly. I
Yeah.
think that's awesome.
Mhm.
Boy, Nadine, this has been fabulous. Thank you so much for giving us your time to
Yeah.
talk about all of this. And we could go on and on because when you sent the list of stuff, I haven't even touched on half of the stuff that you had sent me. So we may have to have a part two. We're going to see
No
about
problem. I recognize that, yeah. That's
yeah, we
all right.
didn't get through all metabolism. We didn't talk about all of these other things. So we might have to do a little
Please, yeah.
targeted part two on this one because
Sure, no problem.
it's
Just remember, ladies, just get started.
Yeah.
Consult with a personal trainer, not just any personal trainer. Shoot me a call, send me a message, kind of thing. Even if it's just for the consultation, that's fine. I will walk you through whatever I think you ought to be doing, after our talk, kind of thing, and then just start from there, you know. But just get it done. 2 days a week. That's all I'm asking. 2 days
Okay.
of resistance training per week.
Okay. Well, I think that's
At
good.
least.
I
Oh,
just
let me
got
just say
through.
one more thing. It doesn't mean just 2 days of resistance. It means 2 days plus. So 2 days of resistance plus 3 days of cardio. So at least 5 days, at least 4
Just get that body moving and
Yeah,
just
just
get
get the
that
body
body.
moving.
Get the body move. Yeah, man. Just get started. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you for your time. And we look forward
Ladies,
to
thanks for having me.
All righty. Bye,
Thank you.
All
everybody.
righty. Bye.
Bye.
See you soon.